Welcome to the Acts 29 virtual conference. You are now watching the pre-conference, and I am your host, Jeff Metters. You may recognize my name and my voice from the Acts 29 podcast. So thank you for tuning in, and shout out to everyone around the world who has joined the virtual conference. It's going to be a blast. We're going to hear so many great sessions and speakers, and you're going to learn great stories today too about what God is doing in Acts 29 all around the world. And so really what we want to do here at the start of the pre-conference is show you some of the initiatives, some of the ministries that Acts 29 is doing to see healthy, multiplying church planting communities all around the world. And so we want to start out showing you this video from John Ryan and Matthias's Lot Church and how they are partnered together to see more churches planted and guys trained up. So watch this story.
Hey, my name is John Ryan. I'm the pastor of leadership development here at Matthias's Lot Church. And so ended up moving to St. Louis about 23 years ago to plant a church called the Summit Church and was there for 20 years. Towards the last 5-6 years of being there, again, started discerning this call from God to spend more time in raising up leaders and sending church planters.
God had gifted John to raise up leaders and to equip leaders for the future generation and expansion of the kingdom of God in our world.
As that calling became more and more clear that this is what God was wanting me to do full time, the wrestling got even stronger because what it was going to mean was having to leave the church I was at that I'd planted and been at for so many years.
John took me out for an appetizer and a drink and said, "Hey, I need to tell you something." And we sat down and he shared with me his heart and his passion, his vision for what God was calling him to.
Man, I've been wrestling with this, but I've just got to do this. God is not letting me step away from this. I needed to be in a place where God was going to allow me to be in a pool, literally a pool of hundreds of young leaders that were wanting to be equipped and trained and sent out.
Of course, we wanted to be supportive of what God was calling John to, and it made so much more sense for him to use his gifts and strengths here at Matthias, being around more young leaders and the opportunity to really invest.
God orchestrated all that in more ways than I can even begin to imagine, to do it in a beautiful partnership between two churches, two Acts 29 churches right here that were literally only separated by about 12 miles. And so our hope is that this would grow in stages. One of the things we're learning about church planting right now is that there's not just a bunch of guys falling off trees like there was 10 or 15 years ago ready to be church planters. Those guys are going to have to be raised up, and it's going to take time. It's going to take a process. It's going to take some intentionality and a lot of messy, hand-to-hand loving of people from intern stage to resident stage before they plant a church stage.
Really being able to invest in and pour into upcoming leaders, although I desperately want to be a part of that, especially when it comes to church planning, can be time-consuming and hard.
And God said, I want you to trust me with what I'm calling you to now. And it's going to require you to step out of this lead pastor role to devote all of your time to this for the rest of your days.
My name is Paul Fernandez, and I am a church planter in Belleville, Illinois. I had an idea in my head. I felt like the Lord was really prompting me, okay, here I'm calling you to plant, but I wanted to do it in a healthy way. And so I talked to this guy named John Ryan, and I said, hey, I think I need to plant a church.
So the church planting residency works through an arm of our church called Servant Leader Institute. So the curriculum, 2 years, walking with guys, a lot of hands-on, and then they're embedded in a local church where a local pastor is walking with them through preaching and hands-on pastoring and hands-on gospel transformation day by day. And so our first, probably most important thing we do is really focus on the planter's heart.
Okay, what does it look like to have a good heart in the midst of being a church planter?
Preaching, teaching, pastoring, failing, sinning, repenting, all of these things require somebody to walk with, invest in, and then send out in a relationship that takes time.
It's changing like the health of me as an individual. And so I believe that that's just going to roll over on my leadership. It's going to roll over on the body that God is calling me to lead.
The second part that we start talking about is, okay, as God starts to change us, what does that look like as it comes out of our eyes, our mouth, our hands? And we really focus in on servant leadership.
The fact that I get coaching, training, resources, and someone personally loving on me and caring for me, and from different perspectives, is seriously one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Right now we have a place where we can send people to get equipped. If we're going to see real revival and the expansion of the kingdom in our area, it's going to take every church working together in many different ways on many different levels, and this was just one of them.
Church planning dramatically matters to me and is important to me because God has called me to be about that, to be about the surety of the church proclaiming the gospel and making sure the gospel is going into new places, reaching new people all over the world, all over this community.
I love that video. I love that story. It's so good to see that collaboration, to see that working together for the spread of the gospel and the training of others. And a part of church planning is also supporting planners' wives and collaborating together to see healthy pastors, healthy couples, healthy churches. And that's why Jay Bice is here to join the pre-conference. So Jay, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role in Acts 29?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. My name is Jay Bice, and I'm the Wives Support Coordinator for the U.S. Southeast. My husband Tim and I live in Southwest Georgia, a little town called Albany, Georgia, and we have 4 children, a bonus boy, some chickens, cats, and a dog. So Tim planted Greenbrier Church, where he pastors, in 2008, and then we joined the network in 2013. I taught school for 11 years, and I'm currently home with our 8-year-old homeschooling.
Okay, great. Well, as I mentioned, our Wife Support Initiative, it's brand new, and I think it's one of the great things we do in Acts 29. I'm so excited by it. So, Jay, if you could tell us, what's the reason for it and kind of the vision for the Wife Support?
Yeah, so when we joined the network, Tim immediately found a brotherhood of men who were theologically aligned with him. They had been in church planting, so they knew the highs and the lows, and it was just a good place for him to be with people like him that could encourage him, equip him, and help. And Acts 29 saw the need for that for the women. So a couple of years ago, Kirsten Black piloted this for the women's, like a women's initiative, and it just took off. The women thought it was great. They needed it. They appreciated it. So first of the year, Kirsten hired 5 Wives Support Coordinators throughout, one for every region. And we've just been trying to get to know the women. First of all, identify who they even are, because a lot of times you don't know who the other lead pastors' wives are. And we are currently seeking lead support wives for each area so they can provide intentional care, community, and just connect with other lead pastors' wives.
Yeah, I love that. It's so important. I think about the retreats from this past summer there in Vail, kind of in that same vein of care, support, where pastors and pastors' wives were coming together. Can you tell us a little bit about the retreats, maybe some highlights, or just what you loved about the retreats this summer?
So it was great. We had 3 retreats in Beaver Creek, Colorado this year, and they paired 2 of us, the West one alone, and the other 4 regions paired up in 2s. So it was great for us as women. We're very relational. So we got to meet other women that we see and just be together, pray with one another. We had a wives mixer, which was some intentional time for the wives to be together. And we just really got to spend time, create relationships. And from that, we've seen wives are encouraged. They have other women that they can reach out to follow up with the prayer requests that they had and just create relationships. And we're hearing that people were really rested and encouraged from that time.
Yeah, I would encourage every pastor and pastor's wife to really get connected in the Wife Support Initiative. Don't miss out. You will be so supported and cared for. And so reach out to Jay. She can point you to others. Reach out to Kirsten Black, and she can point you to others as well. And so, Jay, one last question.
Yes.
Acts 29 is committed to planting healthy, multiplying communities and churches all around the world. And so how does the Wife Support, how does it fit into our mission and vision to plant healthy multiplying communities?
Well, I think in order for a church to be healthy, the leaders need to be healthy. And a lot of times there's a lot of care for the pastors, and they don't think about the pastor's wife, but she needs to be healthy as well. Yeah. So I feel like creating this, and thankfully we have Zoom and other great technology that can connect us together. We can ensure that the wives are healthy, that they're on board with their husbands, and they're on the same page, and they can help the church flourish.
Yeah. Guys, it's such an important ministry, such an important initiative, so don't neglect it. Be sure to reach out. You can go to acts29.com, you can learn more, and definitely go cruise the website and find the articles that Kirsten Black has written on the Wife Support Initiative. And also, Kirsten was on the Acts 29 podcast, so you can go find that episode there as well. It was so much fun to talk with Kirsten about this great initiative. So go find that. Go subscribe to the Acts 29 podcast if you haven't already. Well, Jay, thanks for coming on to the pre-conference.
Yes.
It's great to have you. We have more interviews coming up. But now I want you to watch this little video from one of our sponsors for the pre-conference from Reliant. So check out this video from Reliant.
I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine, for you all making my prayer with joy, because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. Whether you're a church planter with the desire to continue the work the Lord has started by planting the gospel in a specific community or context, or a missionary that has a burden to show and share the gospel to a people group that maybe has never heard the name of Jesus, you will need a team of people coming alongside you and walking with you to carry out this mission. This can look different in many ways, whether it be a team of prayer partners that are laboring on your behalf to the creator of the universe as you go forth. Or maybe even a team of people that are actually going with you in this mission that God has called you to. You're going to need people with you as you go forth. And then finally, there's a financial aspect as well. In order to start or sustain any new ministry, the financial resources are just a need. And so you'll need people partnering with you financially as you start the new work for the Lord. In regards to the finances, support raising is something most of us have never thought we would ever step into or want to. And as church planters or missionaries, it is very easy to view support raising merely as a means to an end, or we can view it as the world around us typically views fundraising. And there's a danger in that, and actually if we look at the scriptures, it's a ministry in itself. And when we see the Apostle Paul, as we look back to the book of Philippians, he views financial partnership as partnering with him in the ministry of the gospel. And that's the way he viewed the church at Philippi. This is what we believe at Reliant Mission. Our mission is to partner with missional churches and gospel-centered nonprofits to mobilize support-based missionaries for the Great Commission. If you're considering entering into a support-based role, whether it be an international missionary, church planter, someone ministering on a college campus, or even if you're pursuing a residency at your local church, we're here to serve you. We do this in two primary ways. And those two ways are through systems and HR benefits and expert training and coaching. For more information on how we can serve you specifically and what the Lord has called you to, please visit reliant.org or email us at us@reliant.org. Thank you, and we look forward to serving you in the ministry of the gospel.
Thank you to Reliant. We really do appreciate their ministry and all that they do for church planters all around the world. Obviously, X29, we care so much about church planters, their health, their support, and that's why Ryan Griffin is here to talk about cohorts. So Ryan, why don't you tell us about yourself and your role in X29?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Ryan.
Well, then you won't be able to see it either, though,
I'm
right?
actually the lead pastor at Living Stones South Reno. And Living Stones, the family church, has been part of X29 for a long time, even in the early years. And I personally got involved with Acts 29 about 3 years ago when I planted South Reno, Living Stones, through the Acts 29 assessment. The long story short, all of the Living Stones families of churches, we're heavily invested in Acts 29 US West through leading and funding and supporting, and it even goes beyond that. Our reach and support of Acts 29 goes global to places like Italy and even India and Turkey and so forth. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great, man. I love Living Stones. So thank you to Living Stones for hosting the pre-conference and the conference here. Just like our Wife Support Initiative, the cohorts is a new thing. We're really encouraging guys to be a part of an Acts 29. And so kind of what's the reason for them, and why should guys invest into cohorts?
good question. I'll start with the what, and then I'll answer the why. So the Acts 29 conferences and even the funding, those things are amazing. But one of the best things that Acts 29 does is the cohorts.
Yeah.
And because it's football season, let me explain it through the filter of football, okay? So you've got the conferences and you've got the funding and retreats and all that stuff. That's like preseason. That's like getting ready to go into ministry, getting things in place, getting everything ready to go. I would describe cohorts as what happens during game time. And so, for example, you've got, each cohort has 10 to 15 lead pastors. We meet 2 times a year, and it's game time. We're talking about game time. We're talking about actual ministry on the ground. And so we're praying for each other. We're encouraging each other. We're sharing the good plays and the bad plays. But it's that's the what. And it is powerful to have something around the actual ministry that happens day to day.
Yeah. I love that.
The why, though. So the why. Why should someone be part of a cohort? Make it really simple. I would say the cohorts are not just theoretical, they're practical. And so, for example, just literally last night, I had 2 guys from my cohort text me about 2 different things that we talked about at our cohort, which was about a week and a half ago.
Wow.
And so it's just, we're talking about how to help with optimize their Sunday liturgy and what should be their first steps for, people coming into the church and whatnot. And so the why is just amazingly practical.
Yeah.
And you take that practicality and you add the friendships to it, and it's priceless.
That's so great, man.
Yeah.
So guys, again, get in your cohort, reach out to your area leadership so you can get involved, participate. You will not regret being a part of this.
Yeah.
If you do neglect it, you will regret it. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, Ryan, so our mission is we want to make disciples.
Yeah.
We want to plant healthy, multiplying communities all around the world. How do cohorts fit with our mission and vision here at Acts 29?
Yeah. Well, let's stick with the football analogy. And it's through being in the trenches together. The football, being on the field, blood, sweat, and tears together. And so when you're doing ministry by yourself, or you're alone, or you're isolated, you can have mission drift from creating disciples or church planting. You can have mission drift, but when you're together, not only are you stronger, but the church becomes stronger, but also we plant stronger churches.
That's right.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for the ministry you do in your churches now, and know that Acts 29 is here to support you, to encourage you, to strengthen you through cohorts, through training, through content, through other resources. And so I hope you heard what Ryan said, and I hope you take it to heart, and I hope you will be a part of a cohort. Ryan, thank you for coming on to the pre-conference.
Thanks.
And listen to this next video from one of our sponsors, BCLC. Check them out.
Your city, your stomping grounds, and your church's background. Your city, the beloved home where family roots are grown and God is made known. Your city, a place for your kids to run and His kingdom to come. Your city, the unique culture and context in which your church has been called to make disciples. Fund your project. Reach your city.
Well, now I have here in the chairs here at the pre-conference my colleague here at Acts 29 in the Content and Training Department, Christy Britton. So, Christy, welcome to the pre-conference.
Thanks, Jeff.
Why don't you tell everybody about who you are and just your role here at Acts 29?
Yeah. So I'm Christy Britton. I've been married to my husband for 23 years, and we're raising 4 amazing boys together. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a member of Imago Dei Church, and I serve as Acts 29's content manager.
And one of the things that we do together is we work together on the blog, we work together on podcasts and all kinds of different content. So we put out fresh content nearly every day.
Nearly every day.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the heart and vision behind what we're trying to see happen there on our website through our content?
So number one, we are a diverse global network, and we want our content to reflect that.
Yeah.
So we really work hard to draw people in from different backgrounds, different genders, different areas and contexts. We feel like that adds layer and depth to our content. Jeff, the voice of Acts 29, produces a podcast every single week, and you're just interviewing people from all over the network, and it's such encouragement to hear the stories that come out and just some best practices and tips. And then the articles, we produce 3 articles a week.
Yeah.
And they're written by a variety of people. They're saying good things. Some are stories, some are book excerpts from Acts 29 authors. There are best practices and just ways to equip you in church planning.
Yeah, and they're amazing pieces. I mean, you'll find stuff on soul care, how to care for yourself, how to rest. You'll find pieces on your children's ministry, how to run that better. Stuff on preaching. I mean, there's all kinds of great content that we have there on the blog. What are some of your hopes for the articles and training content that we have?
Yeah, well, we definitely want our content to reflect the voices in Acts 29, so that's big to us. We want to exalt Christ in everything we do. That's really our main goal. And we want to encourage and equip church planners. Another piece of content we haven't talked about is our books.
Very exciting.
So this came out last year. We partnered with Gospel Center Discipleship. It is a collection of articles written by Acts 29 authors. There's over 35 different contributors, a lot of diversity here.
Yeah.
And then dropping any day now, we have a publishing partnership with 10 of those.
That's right.
And it's been great to work with them. And we are developing a series of books on the 11 key competencies of Acts 29. The first book was written by Tony Merida, and it is The Faithful Church Planner. And it really introduces the series. And then 11 books will be published after that flesh out each individual competency.
Yeah, we'll have books coming out from Doug Logan, from Adam Ramsey, Tyler St. Clair. So there are just more and more books coming out. So, and I hope they pop the cover of Tony's book there on the screen for you to see it. It is beautiful. And when the whole series is done, you'll be blown away when all the books are done. And a whole image is going to be made when all the books are laid out together. And even when they're on your shelf, you'll see it and you'll
Very
be
cool.
amazed.
Yeah.
We are really committed to planting and seeing healthy, multiplying churches all around the world. And part of that is our training and content.
Yeah. We have a great team, too, that works. It's a lot of people that go into it, and we're very blessed. We all love what we do, so it's a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah. It's a joy to work with you.
Same.
It's a joy to work with so many in our department. We care about good theology and good doctrine, shaping our practices, shaping our ministry, because our orthodoxy is for our orthopraxy. What we believe goes into how we act, how we function, how we serve. Yeah. And so that's what we're about. Well, Christy, thank you for coming on to the pre-conference, for being the last guest before the...
Yes.
Yeah,
very distinguished last guest.
Yeah, distinguished last guest before the conference begins. And so thank you for tuning in to the pre-conference. We've got a few more minutes before the conference begins, and you're going to hear great sermons and messages today. I'm so excited to sit and listen and be fed. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in all around the world. We're excited that you're here. We're excited for what God's going to do. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.